Intrapersonal domains can be described as self-awareness, self-management, self-motivation. Interpersonal domains can be described as empathy, managing relationships. So what's the difference? Intrapersonal domains are about understanding your own emotions. Interpersonal domains are about understanding the emotions of others and how people and their emotions interact.
We all have both intrapersonal and interpersonal relationships in our lives. However, today I will be talking to you about interpersonal relationships. Interpersonal relationships are strong, deep, or close associations between acquaintances or two or more people. As the video said, interpersonal relationship has to do with understanding others' emotions. About all humans have some sort of interpersonal relationships in their lives. This is because we live in a society where we are required to talk to people on a regular day basis and establish relationships. Building relationships takes work, and not all building relationship takes a process, and it requires interpersonal relationship skills. In fact, according to an article found on Ohio State University.edu, it says that interpersonal relationships are critical for both work and personal success. There are three different types of categories in interpersonal relationships. The first is family, the second is friendships, and the last is romantic relationships. The first type of interpersonal relationship is family relationships. According to our speech textbooks, family relationships have changed over the past few decades. About 58% of children live with their biological parents, and about 4 in 10 children don't. There are three subcategories within family relationships. The first is interdependent couples. This is a traditional category which consists of the couples who are very involved with one another. They share traditional views of marriage, life, activities, and interests. The second is independent couples. These couples hold a less traditional view of family roles and expectations. They are less dependent on one another. The last is separate couples. These couples are extremely autonomous. Both people in the relationship allow his or her own time to enjoy time apart from each other. The next type of interpersonal relationships is friendship relationships. We all go through the process of making friends. Friends don't just appear out of thin air. It takes getting to know a person, becoming close to a person to be able to call them our friends. Interpersonal relationship scholar Bill Rollins developed a 6-stage model that represents the process of friendship. When you first meet a person, you engage in small talk and you only share minimal information. This step is called role-limited interaction. The small talk you make with that person allows each person to determine if you have common interests. If you decide that you have common interests, you make the step towards the third move, which is moving towards friendship. This happens when a person decides to interact outside of the original social context. For example, this is when students decide to hang out outside of the classroom and work and do other things aside from homework. According to at this point is when I consider to become friends with a person. But according to the speech textbook, the fourth step is when people typically consider themselves friends. This is when people start to interact on a personal level. They choose to participate in a range of activities. For example, people begin to work out on a regular day basis. They have lunch on a regular day basis together. Once this happens, you reach the stabilizing friendship. This is the fifth step. Once you reach this, you hit the peak of a friendship relationships. After this, the sixth step is when you experience a breach in trust and the relationship begins to dissolve. The last interpersonal relationship is very similar to friendships. The last interpersonal relationships is romantic relationships. Just like friends have a model to help explain how they work, romantic relationships also have a popular model that was created by communication scholar Mark Knapp. Mark uses a staircase to illustrate the upward and downward process of a romantic relationship. The staircase up consists of commitment. This process consists of 5 steps. The steps consist of initiating, experimenting, intensifying, integrating, and bonding. I'm sure all of us can relate to this process in one way or another. I remember when I started dating my boyfriend and how we both went through this process. The first few steps of this staircase consist of getting to know a person, seeing if we have things in common. Eventually, you merge social lives together and become a couple. The staircase represents a pretty accurate process from what I have experienced. Not all relationships manage to stay together. Knapp also uses a model to illustrate the downward hill of a relationship. Just like the staircase up, the staircase down consists of 5 steps, which are differentiating, circumscribing, stagnating, avoiding, and termination. Basically, the staircase down consists of a couple slowly drifting apart and becoming distant from one another and becoming more independent, and then eventually leading to termination. The 3 different types of interpersonal relationships all have similar steps and all have to do with people interacting with others to establish some sort of relationship. Friends, family, and relationships are all interpersonal relationships that we all have to deal with every day of our life. Thank you very much.